Welcome back to Channel 8 News. This week we look at Activist Hayden Krystal, the St. Jude sticker fundraiser, the Student Senate meeting, and more. Your Channel 8 News starts right now.
Thanks for tuning in to Channel 8 News, the show where we provide the latest coverage on the Northwest Missouri State University campus and in the Maryville community. I'm Dylan Davis.
And I'm Jillian McNamara. Before we get into this week's stories, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for all the latest news and updates, as well as some other content.
As homecoming approaches, students can look to their cat paws for the homecoming king and queen voting polls. Voting opened last Monday.
King candidates are Coy Kirby, Robbie Keys, Brendan Eggman, Jake Waters, and DJ Ross.
Coy Kirby is from Weston, Missouri, and is involved in B&B, Phi Mu Alpha Sinfonia, and National Association for Music Education. His favorite part of homecoming is marching in the parade.
Robbie Keys is from Raymore, Missouri, and is involved in Sigma Phi Epsilon, Interfraternity Council, and Student Senate. His favorite part of homecoming is being involved with the variety show. He loves seeing the smiles of accomplishment after the finished product.
Brendan Ingeman is from Montrose, Missouri, and is involved in Delta Tau Alpha Honor Society, Collegiate Farm Bureau, Order of Omega Honor Society, Alpha Gamma Rho Fraternity, Interfraternity Council, and Student Senate. His favorite part of homecoming is how it brings us all together to celebrate one thing.
Jake Waters is from Olathe, Kansas, and is involved in Sigma Tau Gamma, Blue Key Honor Society, Campus Recreation, STUMO, Basketball Club, and Women's Basketball Scout Team. His favorite part about homecoming is the way Northwest and Maryville comes together and gets involved.
Lastly but not least, DJ Ross is from St. Louis, Missouri, and is involved in MMO, BSU, Student Senate, African Student Organization, International Student Organization, TRIO, and is a student ambassador for computer science. His favorite part of homecoming is the variety show and the parade.
Queen candidates are Elizabeth Matazdi, Obiama Nhuba, Bradley Wilms, Ashton Dane, and Jada Gravajan.
Liz Matazdi is from Joplin, Missouri, and is involved in Student Senate, Board of Regents, Phi Mu, Presidential Search Committee, Order of Omega Honor Society, and the Writing Center. Her favorite part of homecoming is the overwhelming amount of Bearcat pride.
Obiama Nhuba is from Anambra State, Nigeria, and is involved in African Students Organization, International Students Organization, Student Missouri State Teachers Association, Student Senate, Career Ambassador, and a tutor at the Writing Center. Her favorite part of homecoming is the Bearcat pride we get to show.
Bradley Wilms is from Clarinda, Iowa, and is involved in Collegiate Farm Bureau, Block and Bridle, Sigma Alpha Alpha Beta Chapter, Collegiate Cattlemen's Association, and Delta Tau Alpha Honor Society. Her favorite part about homecoming is seeing everyone come together.
Ashton Dane is from Olathe, Kansas, and is involved in Women's Soccer, Blue Key Honor Society, Lambda Pi Eta Honor Society, and Northwest Communications social media intern. Her favorite part of homecoming is seeing all Bearcats of all ages come together.
Lastly, Jada Gravajan is from Omaha, Nebraska, and is involved in Alpha Sigma Alpha and Panhellenic Council. Her favorite part of homecoming is seeing all the people line up on 4th Street to watch the parade.
Homecoming voting closes October 17th, so get your vote in, Bearcats.
When we return, we will look at the Student Senate meeting, the Marshals opening, and more. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT TV.
Unlike other organizations on and around campus, here, the students do it all.
KNWT is a student-run and student-produced television station.
To support this content, you can go to our YouTube channel at KNWT Channel 8.
And watch the latest shows or even enjoy blasts from the past.
Hey, nice job on the analysis of the game last week.
Oh, thanks.
Come on, Jason, you're not a football player.
Tosses it toward the end zone, pass cut, touchdown for Northwest Missouri State. It's Alexander coming up with a catch.
Now that's a football player. Make sure you check out Bearcat Update every Monday at 6 on KNWT TV on YouTube. We got sports news, scores, behind the scenes, and anything to do with Northwest Missouri State University here in Titletown. Check us out.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. This week, Dominic Ocampo reported on the Student Senate meeting.
On Tuesday, October 10th, Student Senate held their weekly meeting. This week's attire was pink out, and all the members showed up dressed up for the occasion. They ran their meeting as planned, sworn in new members, and even inducted a new club called Pre-Law Society here at Northwest. After the meeting, I was able to catch up with freshman class president Phil Motazity to get some insight on the Senate experience.
I've just always been interested in like governmental kind of affairs within student body stuff. So like back in high school, I was on student council, I was my senior class president, and I just wanted to carry that over into college with me. And so I've been really pleased, and I'm excited to kind of gain my footing and learn more.
Freshman President Motazity then went on to compare his high school experience in Student Senate to what it's like now being in college.
I didn't really know what to expect. We didn't have like very formal meetings like this where you say stuff like, I motioned this and stuff like that. So that's been a really fun kind of thing to learn. But overall, I'm excited to learn more. I think it was very different from what I've expected.
Motazity then spoke on the many committees he is eyeing to choose to join in Student Senate.
So I don't know 100% sure. I mean, there's like 3 I've really been keeping my eye on. I'd say I was thinking organizational finance or inclusion. Yeah, so inclusion or organizational finance, I think I've always just been a fan of like kind of sticking up for people who like do not have a voice for themselves, and you can kind of like allow that diversity to shine through, especially with inclusion. And then with organizational finance, I just like the idea of like kind of giving out money to people, to organizations. That's what they do. They give out money to organizations who may need it. And I find that kind of, it's not a little heartwarming, but it's also just like it's helpful. Like you want to like let student organizations shine through in campus.
After chatting with Phil, I was able to catch up with off-campus representative Anthony Martinez to talk about homecoming. And although they do not play a big role, they still participate in the biggest weekend of the fall semester.
We always get prepared for it like a couple of weeks before. We're moderately involved because Senate is pretty busy with like the other stuff and all. So, I mean, yeah, we're moderately involved, and yeah.
With leaders like freshman President Phil Motazity, it is clear that the future of Northwest and Student Senate is bright. Homecoming is just 1 week out, so make sure to get out and get active. And as always, for stories that matter to you, this has been Dominic Ocampo, Channel 8 News.
In other news, St. Jude held a sticker fundraiser this past week. Jacob Mustard reports.
St. Jude at Northwest Missouri State University is an organization on campus that helps support St. Jude's Children's Hospital by putting on events and fundraisers for students and staff to participate in.
If you don't know what St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is, it is a hospital based out of Memphis, Tennessee, and there they do the research for all of that childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases for children. We personally don't do any of the research, of course, but here at Northwest we do fundraising for them. So we host different events throughout the school year, fundraise, and all of our money that we raise goes straight to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So we do some good over here, even if we're not doing the actual research with them.
The main event this week was the sticker fundraiser, where customized stickers can be purchased for $2 a piece or 3 for $5. Events like this one are put on multiple times throughout the semester, raising money and awareness.
We have 2 main events, one in the spring semester and one in the fall semester. The fall semester is Colden Pond Plunge. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it's one of our bigger ones. Participants get nominated, and then they raise money for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. The top 10 this year are going to jump into the freezing waters of Colden Pond. We make sure we do it at the end of November, early December, so that way it's real cold out there. Usually we have to cut a hole in the ice to do it, but it's super fun. And then the one in the spring semester is Cut Loose, and that's where our participants, they can still raise money for St. Jude, but that's not primarily what we're doing at that event. It is the donating of the hair. That goes to children with hair loss. I love that event. I participated in that one. That's how I got involved with St. Jude. So those are our 2 main ones, but to answer your question more, we try to do it as much as we can. This year we have our Harvest Festival, which is also going to be fundraising for St. Jude. We have our sticker fundraiser. We're hoping to bring back Up Till Dawn, which was a huge event that we used to do. Basically, you stay up all night and raise money for St. Jude.
When first learning about the Colden Pond Plunge, a freshman here on campus had this to say.
That sounds like a really good way to promote it on campus. The Polar Plunge and like Ice Bucket Challenge, those are all really popular. They raise a lot of awareness. I think this will do really well, especially in such a small town.
The importance of an organization like this on campus can easily be undervalued. Schools like Northwest are able to help reach goals with the main part of the hospital.
They need all of the support they can get to keep helping people, because without the people donating or the people who have want good things, then they're all going to go under. I'd leave a lot of people needing for things.
Another event that was put on this past weekend was the St. Jude Harvest Festival with Dot Family Farms. A place for families to buy pumpkins and paint them with yard games, drinks, and light snacks were provided. This is just another example of the cool events that the St. Jude Bearcats put on. For the stories that matter to you, I'm Jacob Mustard with Channel 8 News.
To donate to St. Jude, reach out to Polar Plunge candidates and ask how to help. Last Thursday, the Maryville Marshalls had its grand opening. Sydney Lowry reports.
Maryville's excitement for the opening of the new Marshalls, located at 1826 South Main Street, showed as there was a group waiting outside before the store opened 8 a.m. October 12th. The crowd outside had many high school students, Northwest students, and many more people from throughout the community. Northwest cheerleaders encouraged shoppers entering the building as they were handed complimentary tote bags as they looked through the store. Maryville Tourism Director Deanne Davison said it's always great to bring in new additions to a town to keep the excitement and have more options.
Definitely personally, I think it's another great option to shop in town. So having something like Marshalls and letting people know that they can stay here in town and get everything they need rather than either buying online or going to another city.
The building formerly held JCPenney until it announced its closure in 2017. City Manager Greg McDaniel said they have been trying to fill the space with something new ever since. Morris Hayes with Carey Cook Construction Incorporated was superintendent on the renovation to the building from May to completion. He said the demolition process took the inside all the way back to the concrete walls, and the team started building it out from there.
It's always nice to see the final product and the excitement it brings to the community, and being a part of that.
The addition of this business to Maryville allows another option for clothing retail, as that is one of the types of goods people don't have many options to shop. Sharon Hopper said she saw the crowd outside of the building and remembered the store was opening today, so she decided to stop in and do some shopping.
I'm so glad something went in this old building. It was needed so much here in this town.
She said she plans on doing a lot of shopping at the store because it brings new options, is different, and will be a good change. Despite the earlier business hours for the grand opening, the store's regular hours will be 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday and 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Sundays. For the stories that matter to you, this is Sydney Lowry for Channel 8 News.
Since October is LGBTQ+ History Month, Northwest is holding many events. One was a stand-up comedian and queer activist, Hayden Krystal. Tyrell Childress got the scoop.
Northwest Missouri State University Student Activities Council hosted comedian Hayden Krystal to promote LGBTQIA+ History Month as part of their Northwest Lecture Series. Krystal is a Colorado-based hard-of-hearing queer activist and stand-up comedian, as Krystal incorporates these different life experiences into their comedy with intent to bring awareness to the marginalized groups they're a part of. Krystal has traveled across North America to a variety of schools, conferences, and businesses, and has even been a voice actor on Adult Swim's TV show Tuca and Birdie. Last year, they competed on America's Got Talent and was able to showcase their stand-up routine during the live shows.
You gotta love her, you guys. That's my time. I'm Hayden Krystal. Thank you so much.
Krystal immortalized this moment with a tattoo of the iconic X's on their leg. During the lecture series, Krystal gave an educational presentation on sign language and its influences on LGBTQIA+ communities, while sprinkling in their signature humor. I spoke with Krystal over what they wanted people to take away from the event.
Support your community and do what you can to build your community and to reach outside your bubble and interact with other communities to make your life bigger, make your world bigger.
The event started with Krystal instructing the audience to sign the alphabet with them before using those letters to spell out LGBTQIA+ in sign language.
So in real time it looks like this. You don't need to do this. It's not like the full Macarena. Like, how do you identify, right? Like, it's not the whole thing. It's just this. Good. Trans.
Krystal then took the opportunity to discuss the history of identity in the deaf community and how it has progressed over time. I spoke with a student over the impact of Krystal's words.
I loved it. I thought Hayden was super, they were very fun and bright, but also, brought it into, real life, social justice, which I thought was really neat. I think it's really going to be important, like the different kinds of like needs and accessibilities people need because of like how they are and the different parts of their identity that are also part of who they are.
The uniqueness of using comedy to educate helps facilitate audience engagement in a thoughtful way. Krystal gave their insight about why that is.
It's about that connection. So I guess if you like my perspective, then that's what makes it special to you. And I think that's the special thing about comedy as an art form. It's the only art form that requires an audience. You can practice music at home, you can practice painting or whatever, but you can't do stand-up without an audience. So that's kind of the magic of it, is connecting with your specific audience.
To hear more from Hayden Krystal, you can visit their website at haydenkrystal.com and follow the Northwest Office of Diversity and Inclusion on future events celebrating LGBTQ+ History Month. For the stories that matter to you, I'm Tyrell Childress with Channel 8 News.
When we come back, we will have a live interview with another student here on campus. You're watching Channel 8 News on KNWT TV.
KZLX LP Maryville. Your 24/7 Top 40 radio. Live radio coverage of events, live concerts, and DJ service.
This week we look into the world of Hellboy, cowboy it up with Lawless, then slice through some trivia of TMNT. New episodes of Nerd Central every Wednesday at 6 here on KNWT TV.
Welcome back to Channel 8 News. Today I'm here with Aiden McMahon, a junior here at Northwest. So Aiden, why did you choose English Ed as your major?
So for English Ed, I think that there's two parts to address. Like for my major, I think that there's the reading component and the writing component of an English classroom. So for the reading component, I mean, obviously I want my students to love reading, but that's not that's not realistic. Like it's really not every kid's gonna love English class, and that's okay. But I think my main goal is that I want to teach them skills that will help them read the world around them. So applying, literary devices to when they're scrolling on their phone and reading a news article, or just becoming functional members in society and informed citizens. And even if that's subconsciously that they did that, I'm calling it a win. So, And then I think for the writing component, research essays and like formal writing do have a place in English classrooms, but I think it's also really important to build a safe learning environment for more of a creative writing kind of structure, and allowing kids to explore how they write and if they like writing, and kind of giving them that opportunity to write outside of maybe what's boring for them. So
I definitely agree. So, while the classroom and studies are also fun, tell me a little bit about your extracurricular involvement.
So, on campus, I am a part of the Behavioral Sciences Association here on campus, which is an organization dedicated to mental health and reducing the stigma around mental health. And I do that because we bring in speakers about mental health and resources on campus, but also resources throughout the country that I hope to use for my future students someday. I'm the president of Sigma Tau Delta here on campus, which is our English Honor Society. So we just had an induction a couple weeks ago, inducting new members. That was really exciting. I'm a part of the Speaking Bearcats team here at Northwest. So that's basically, we go around the country and talk really formally, competitive speech talking, and that's really fun. We went to Philadelphia last year for nationals, and the previous year we went to Orlando, and this year we're going to Phoenix, which is very exciting. I'm very, very stoked about that. And I think the last thing that I really do on campus is I'm a student employee, which is, I don't know if that's an extracurricular, but it takes enough time.
A little.
So, I think it counts. But I love doing that. I work in Brown Hall. I'm the student assistant to the field experience office. So if you have any ed friends who are getting placed for student teaching, that's me. That's my job. So that, and then Green Tower Press, obviously, too. I'm an intern down at Green Tower Press. So, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you keep very busy. And at the end, you mentioned Green Tower Press.
Yes.
So kind of specifically, what have you gained from being a part?
So Green Tower Press is a very interesting place, and I mean that in a very affectionate way, not in a derogatory way. I've gained a lot of friends from working there. I've only worked there since the past spring, so I'll have my full year coming up this spring. And as someone who's not like a creative writing or publishing major, I think it's a really good experience to learn more about the publishing process and also like how that all works and all the intricacies that go within that. So at Green Tower Press, we do some graphic design. Graphic design is not my passion. I'm not good at it. I want to throw hands with InDesign a lot of the time. That's okay, but I've learned how to do it, which is, I think, really valuable. We help host the Visiting Writers Series here on campus. If you see all those flyers around Colden or around everywhere else that are really annoying, that's us. And so we meet authors from all around the country, all around the world, and they come to campus, they share their stories, we meet them. Sometimes they do workshops with us, which is super cool. Also at Green Tower Press, so we're a fully run publication. So we publish 2 issues per year. And so what we do is we read thousands of submissions every semester from various writers all over the world, organize those submissions, make our issue from scratch, so guts, cover, organizing, format, all of that. And we publish that 2 times a year and get that out to our mailing list, which is super cool. And I think the last big thing that we do is we go to this conference. It's called AWP. It's the Association of Writers and Writing Programs. So like a lot of the authors that we publish in our issue come to that. So it's super cool to meet them and stuff and like put a face to the name and kind of talk to them about their work. And we also host like offsite readings for like people who have been in the volumes and all of that stuff at cool places. And we get to meet other literary journals and like just kind of network and collab. And we have 2 great mentors who help us run it, John Gallagher and Luke Rolfus. They're both super sweet men if you don't know them, and greatest bosses in the world. So they like to show us off and introduce us and get kind of connections that way. It was in Seattle last year, and this year it's in Kansas City. So it's local. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to kind of show people around our city. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds like so much fun. So much love for words and English. So while work here at Northwest is also super exciting, what sort of post-grad opportunities have become kind of available to you that kind of Northwest has helped along?
So the biggest one right now for me is we have this program in the English department. It's the Accelerated English program, which I'm a part of, which basically just means you can get your bachelor's and your master's in 5 years. So I'm a part of that. Kind of, I don't know if that qualifies for post-grad, but it's grad school. So one of the words, 50%. And so I'll be doing that after I finish my bachelor's degree, which I'm super stoked about. And then besides that, also on the ed portion of things, meeting different school districts from Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, Nebraska. They come up almost every career day. And so meeting with them, talking with them about their school districts, what might be a good fit for you. Mock interview day is something that is mandatory in one of our classes that we take. It's a class called Professional Learning Community. And basically they set up this interview for us, and we will talk to an administrator. We'll get feedback on what we did, feedback on our resume. We also fill out fake applications for like school teacher jobs. obviously they don't go anywhere, they're fake, but just knowing how that process works and if we want to branch out, what it's going to look like in the future. So there's that. And then also with my ed portion, we have an office here on campus. It's called the certification office. And it's run by this lovely woman, Kim Hellinger, and she helps us post-grad figure out where our teaching certifications are going to look like, because, you know, there might be something that we need if we move to Illinois, and we have this Missouri teaching certificate, and all that jazz. So knowing that she'll be there post-grad and the opportunity to kind of build on my degree even when I'm not here is important to me.
Yes, I would definitely agree. Sounds like things are kind of getting taken care of.
Yeah.
So it's been really incredible to hear kind of about your story and about everything that you're involved in. So as someone who's kind of grown and become a little bit of an elder in the English department, what advice would you give to other writers?
To other writers, I would say, even if you don't call yourself a writer, you don't have to devote your life to writing to be a writer. Anyone can be a writer, and the world needs more writers. There's not enough of them yet. And even if you write for yourself, like I write for myself a lot of the time, it just goes to me, it's just to get it out, it's just to vent, it's a mindfulness activity. I think that that's really important because writing is vulnerable, and writing is self-love, and writing is taking care of yourself. And so even if it's just a sentence or a phrase or you think it's complete vomit, I really don't think it matters because anyone can write, and I really think you should, because if you don't write about it, how do you know what you're capable of? I
like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Well, Bearcats, Aiden says that you too can be a writer. So that's all the time we have for Aiden and all the time we have for Channel 8 News. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Jillian. Be sure to go to the description to watch certain sections of our show. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more Channel 8 news as well as other content on our YouTube page at KNWT TV. For the stories that matter to you, this has been Channel 8 News. Thanks for watching.